Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 Championship. We return once again here and we're at the Netherlands for round one. A few seasons ago we started off with Zandvoort as well to begin our season, so we've done a bit of a circle, I guess you could say. Alrighty, qualifying, currently 5 minutes left. I do apologise for the delay in the start of the stream, but we've got some technical difficulties as you will probably experience during the live stream. We've got Samaxon on top of the times, an 8.436, followed by Nifo with an 8.662. Heischler, and then we've got Dr. Livesey, followed by Verf, Zingy, Jericho Willis, Hogrider, Egapro, Edvir, and Tom, all as permanent drivers. We're missing a few today, but so far, so good. It's Samaxon who is on their way into the pit lane, and they will come out again for a final run very shortly in a little bit. We're just going to try and get everything on the screen ready to go. And I do apologise for any teething issues that we may have, but we're, yeah, back to live streaming in a different location, so it's going to take some setting up. Alrighty, hopefully we're back and ready to go. But here's qualifying. In its final stages, we've got Heischler coming around the final corner, ready to start the lap. Keeping it tight to the inside, then open it up as you go down the straight. DRS available into the first corner. And down the gears as fast as they can to slow themselves down. But they've got the banking to support them as well. And through the middle sector, they will eventually get through as they come through the next few banked corners. A little bit on the curve there, which you don't necessarily want to look to do, but you want to get as close as you can to it. It's still pretty tidy and should be a good lap regardless. Now through the flat right-hander, just going down the gear into 6th gear to scrub off some speed. Back up to 7th or staying in 6th and keeping it flat out as they continue. Staying away from the left-hand side curb, but trying to get close to the right-hand side curb. A little bit of an under-rotation there from the Dutchman, currently sitting in P3, a little way from Samaxon, but giving it their all with track evolution to help them as well. Purple in the middle sector, sending it into the final chicane. They've got 2 more major corners to go and it will be the lap done. What's it going to be for Heischler? Oh, a little bit of a slip. That's not going to gain them any time. Lots of rotation in that car, but is it too much? Across the line for the Dutchman in the McLaren, and it's P2. He just misses out on P1 as Nifo gets pushed down to P3. Nifo's up and they will try and give it a good shot. We've got Samaxon starting their final lap. We've got a few seconds left on the clock. It's going to be the Aston Martin of Igor finishing. Actually, I say that they might not actually get another lap in. They're just going to miss out, I think, across the line. And it's Igor who will just somehow get a lap in the session. Livesey is out. They will be P4 or lower. They will not be able to improve any further. That is Jericho Willis to P8 in the end. We've got Verf crossing the line. They go to P3 to push Nifo down. Nifo going slowly. That's it for them. P4 or lower. What can happen? Can we see Igapro go for something? We've got the Mercedes of Hog Rider on debut, going across the line, and they go to P9. They stay P9. Igapro is the next car. I say next car. We've got Samaxon coming up to try and defend their pole position, but they've invalidated. It is Igapro, and that is it. Pole position for now is set between Samaxon, Heischler and Nifo. There it is. Samaxon crosses the line to finish the session. Igapro's the only car that can do anything about this. They get blocked. They get blocked by the Racing Bull AI car that was. DRS available. ERS up to the line. What's it going to be for Igapro? And it's going to be a P6. They just miss out on their teammate. I do not believe it. It wasn't actually AI car. It was Nifo there just up in front. But it's Samaxon who takes another pole position and starts the season off well. What can they do in the race here? I don't know. But it looks like it's going to be a good one. 1.2 seconds splits the entire field. Samaxon and Heischler have got a decent chunk out of that as well, so 1 second splits the rest of the field apart from the top two. And then you see some decently close splits here and there, so it should be a competitive race. Some drivers are going to have to look in other areas to try and get an advantage over others, but hopefully we can have a smooth rest of a stream if possible. Alrighty, there we go, that one's done. And once again I do apologise, we've got some teething issues at the start of the season with all the recording etc, but we'll try and get that fixed over the coming races. Samaxon on pole position for the Dutch Grand Prix. We've got Heischler in P2 and Verf in P3. That's the rest of the grid. The race director's on your screen now, and we'll see in a bit for the race. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? We're finally away. Maxon taking the lead nicely. It's the inside line for Heischler. Are they going to break late? It's too late as Maxon has got the job done. Further behind at the back, we've got the Red Bull of Tom Rob, and then we've got side by side between Nifoyan and Dr. Livesey on their first ever race, going side by side with a champion. They've got a 6-time champion directly behind them in the same team car. Eager Pro P6, that's Edvid down the order. It looks like it's Hog Rider and Tom Rob also switching positions as Jericho Willis tries to have a look left and right of but they can't find anything. What happened there? Tom takes some positions, Hog Rider went down the order, and it seems that Edvir maybe has they have damage? They don't. Nobody has damage in the opening corners. And we can go racing as usual. It's going to be tough for those that lost out in the beginning phase just then, but there will be opportunities to gain. That wasn't rain on the screen right there, was it? I don't think it was, but I think we'll be okay. It is Maxon who is rounding the final corner to start the second lap. Lap 36 is going to be the winner. Who's going to get there first? Well, Heischler sitting right behind. They've got pressure from Nifoyan behind, but nowhere near close enough to have a go at Zingy. Livesey, really impressive so far, looking good. They've got the Scotsman behind them on the brand new wheel, of course, but it's still daunting to do your first race ever, especially on a grid where most people, except from just a few, have had a lot of experience of racing each other. P4 in qualifying is a great start on the medium tyre. That's going to be an interesting one. We'll look at the strategy now as we talk about that. The hard tyre only for Hog Rider, that's it. 1.8 seconds is Tom away from Jericho Willis. 7/10 away is Hog Rider from Tom, as Tom makes a mistake and goes down the order. Hog Rider gets through, and they're going to try and make this hard tyre work if they can. It's going to be a difficult ask, especially with a massive train of cars just behind them, all the way from P1 to P8, but it's still going to be, well, probably their best chance. They can't afford to make a pit stop and do something different. They've got to stick to this strategy. Maxon leading the way on lap 2 as well. Heischler pushing a little bit further, but they don't look to go to the inside line. They don't see a threat from Nifo. This time around, they're able to just hold on for now. And that's a bit of a split there. We've got Zingy and Livesey. I say that, it's not, it's Eager Pro and Zingy. There's a 4/10 gap. It looks more of a split on the mini-map than it does in actual statistics, as it's just changing, getting bigger and smaller as we go through the corners. But the crocodile, the snake, the train still manages to be one. We've got Jericho Willis, who does have about half a second away from the Sauber up in front, and they're going to be pushing very hard, but they do at least have a bunch of cars up in front of them. So when you're not in the straights and you're in the corners, you have an easier time. Other than that, it can still be pretty difficult. That's the wrong button. And I do apologise for that. There we go. I don't know how I pressed that button. I've never pressed it before. We see, unfortunately, I was going to say somebody round, but we don't see anyone round. We do see, Zingy has a look to the inside, but that was never going to work, and they've actually ended up losing a lot of momentum, trying to go past his Eager Pro, but getting shown a wheel was them there. I don't know what was going on with Zingy, but he didn't really seem too happy about whatever did happen. And now there's a 5/10 gap, between a 7/10, almost 8/10 gap between Livesey and Nifo up in front. So something must have happened there. There must have been some sort of issue. 2.8 seconds. Hog Rider's got a similar gap, especially considering they're on different tyres to Jericho Willis. So they're keeping good pace for now, and Tom Rob is trying their best to hold on to the back of Hog Rider at the moment. Evir having their issues, of course, but still staying in this race. That's the important thing. right now. In the early laps of the Grand Prix, we've got Nifo, who continues to make sure that Heischler doesn't get too complacent, too relaxed, because right now they're not pushing Samaxon. They want to try and create some chaos, make some cars in front, make some mistakes, and then they can have a go. When you're P3 in a train, you really have to think about these things and try and get something done, because P1 and P2 basically control everything, and you are at the mercy of them, unless you're super close to the second car, and you can have a go at making a move, but you'd have to use a lot of resource, and using a lot of resource only comes when it comes to the pit stops and the final laps of the race. Also, of course, if you're trying to overtake somebody on a different tyre, but that's something that we'll have to look at a little bit further down the line. There's a bit of a split now as we see 7/10 between Igor and Zingy, and we see Jericho Willis just watching the field up in front of them so far. Haven't been able to make any moves in this wall of cars. Igor Pro can see that that gap is getting bigger and bigger, and Verf is not going to want to wait around. Tapping a wheel on the grass and not having any battery is not going to impress the car behind either. Luckily for them, this middle sector is going to allow them to catch up a lot more. You can see the gap change, but that battery is not really replenishing as much as they would have liked. That is a worry there for Igor, because 6/10, 7/10 before the start-finish straight, and you haven't got that much battery, is a little bit of a risk. And I think we could see either a split in the field, or we could see maybe Verf pushing for a move. That being said, Verf's had a few issues because they are now 6/10 behind, and everything is staying as it is. It was Heischler looking very close to the back of Samaxon there, but they did just miss out on any overtaking opportunity for the last moment. That is Hog Rider into the pit lane early on, hard tyre, and getting a front wing change, so they've had some sort of issue in the beginning and they've gone for that medium tyre, looking for something completely different here. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is, but we'll let them do it and give it a shot. As they dial out of the pit lane, looking for maybe some sort of undercut to get involved in the race. Safety cars aren't impossible either. It's Samaxon leading the way, hoping for no safety car right now. It's Heischler in P2 and Nifo in P3. Livesey holding on as they had their little scuffle with Zingy before. Nothing has happened since, and everybody is locked in a train, although you don't see too much overtaking. The intensity as a driver that you feel right now in this moment is absolutely brutal, as somebody is going to release. They're going to go for the move. They're going to pull the plug, and it might be Nifayan, but it wasn't in the end. It's getting pretty close to it though, lap 8 out of 36. And people start to get a little bit more impatient and want to start making some progress, sometimes here and there, maybe catching a few people off guard before they get stopped to the pit stop phase. But you can see Igor Pro 9/10 away. Verf's got to try and do something, otherwise it's too late. Igor Pro's now lost that 1 second gap. Unless they can find something here in the next couple of corners, Verf has to try and push on the start-finish straight. Igor 8/10. They're going to hold on to DRS range, but will they have the battery to then maintain that? They do. They have a lot of battery actually, so they saved a massive amount there. Took a risk, but now they've got a big reward. That being said, they're not exactly using any battery to try and stay within the DRS zone. 9/10. They didn't make a mistake there, but they were very close to it. If they made a mistake, then they would have been in big trouble. They've now got a lot of battery. So high risk, high reward stuff from Igor Pro. And it was a close call, but the bunch up in front are going to be pretty feisty very shortly, but that is Verf speeding in the pit lane as they go over the bumpy pit lane entry here in Zandvoort, and unfortunately find themselves in a bit of trouble for the rest of this race. Leaving the pit lane as normal, and that's all good to see. They do drop behind Edvir, who hasn't made a pit stop, but they are just up in front. Now that's the hard tyre here for Verf. Hogrider maybe had some sort of issue further because they've dropped even further back, even with a front wing change. I don't think you should be dropping that far back, but maybe we didn't see something earlier on that would make more sense. Now making that pit stop, Verf, getting that 10-second time penalty, that might change a few things for a few drivers, but also that means you've got a car that is going to be traffic to you, so you don't want to get undercut. Will we see anybody react? No one reacts for now. They all stay out, and Verf's on their own. That's for sure. Verf is fully on their own in this race, in this strategy call. Oh, and that's Heischler down. Heischler's down. Hogrider retiring in the pit lane. No safety car. Heischler's down the order. I just missed it. I do not believe it. Heischler loses it and drops back. Nifo still holding on to DRS range of Samaxon, so everybody's lucky and they don't lose out. But no, it's Livesey actually who loses out. Nifo's pushed the limit so much. Livesey's just got DRS. But is it going to be enough? Are they going to be able to catch? Zingy has to surely try and go for a move, but they can't. Livesey's pushing on the battery, but I think it's game over. DRS is lost. And that is what happens if somebody makes a mistake up in front. There's damage. So did they try, I don't know, go for a move on Samaxon and make a mistake? I don't know how they've got that damage. Egapro distracted in all the battle as dropped down behind Jericho Willis. Everybody's moving around, and after that explosive moment right there, Verf is now going to be gaining massively. They are gaining massively as well on Edvir, and they need to try and find Edvir in the right opportunity, in the right moment to make that move, because otherwise they're going to get slowed down, and this strategy is going to go completely south very, very fast. Into the fast right-hander, and not much they can do in these corners, and they're going to want to look for the start-finish straight, because otherwise Edvir might risk just trying to re-overtake Verf if they try to overtake them now, of course. So they will have to wait, and they are going to lose some lap time. But it's Heischler who's got his teammate just ahead. It's Jericho Willis who stays out and gets slungshot with DRS, but now they are not within DRS range of Zingy. So now not only is Livesey temporarily lost DRS, sorry, their teammate has now lost DRS, as that is a yellow in the pit lane. We continue. That's unfortunately Edvir making a mistake in the final banked corner. What a shame there with damage as well. Tom will catch up. Edvir will go to the pit lane and crawl into the box and get a new front wing. Samaxon is still leading this race. No pit stops for anybody else other than Verf and Heischler. Heischler, of course, getting that damage. Verf on the time penalty situation, going for a very early undercut. And with the damage that Heischler's got, that's about a 3-second undercut maybe, I think. Because, of course, Heischler did get that kind of front wing change, which would have taken... maybe it would have taken 8 seconds, so maybe it was basically perfect, but I'm not entirely sure, and we'll have to wait and see what Verf can do when the pit stops come around. It's Nifo in P2, keeping that pressure on. It's P1 to P4 now, being the lead pack as Jericho Willis and Igapro have been split away after the incident with Heischler. And that's just the nature of it, unfortunately. You've got to hope the car ahead of you doesn't have an incident, but if they do and they split away, then you are not screwed, but your life is going to be very, very difficult. And that's what you see right now. It's not over for Jericho and Igapro. The strategy can still be a call, but it's going to be just that little bit more difficult. Jericho Willis 2.2 seconds away, just behind them is the Aston Martin of Igor, the next Aston Martin P3 in the fight for the podium, if not the win at this stage on debut. That would be one hell of a story, as we saw from Zingy all those years ago. And talking about Zingy, into the pit lane they go. It's Igapro and Jericho Willis following along as well. It's Nifo who makes the call to go into P1. And I don't think Samaxon's going to have an answer to that. I don't think Samaxon's going to be able to re-overtake Nifo by the time they get to the pit stop section. And Nifo's going to go into the lead of the Grand Prix and pit in first place. LSI just dropping back as these guys push each other to the limit. And you can see Nifo is pushing at every possible moment, as I think they're going to be going into the pit lane. They don't want to lose out to the cars behind who have just made pit stops. And so that's why. And you can see the pushing, you can see the wiggle from Nifo, and also a wiggle there from Samaxon, but something that didn't really gain them any time. But lots of battery in that car helps them massively. Nifo very loose on the rear end, loses a bit of time in that final section, but we don't really care about what they're losing to Samaxon, because we know that they're going to stay ahead of them for now. It's all about how much they lose to the cars behind. All three go into the pit lane, trying to not look up the rears. Oh, I do not believe it. Nifo's pushed the limit to the absolute edge and almost loses the car. They will lose that P1 slot, which is very frustrating for them. They'll at least come out in the pack. But there they are. There is Verf, who does get a massive overcut on the entire field. And there is Jericho Willis and Igapro, who gets a little bit of an undercut on the cars in front. But is it going to be enough? It's LSI. LSI's on the soft tyre. They've made a mistake. There's an issue. I do not believe it. LSI on the soft tyre. After starting on the medium, they're going for a soft, medium, soft. It's Tom Robb in the pit lane, a second retirement from the race, unfortunately. And now we've got, somehow, after all of this, Zingy leading the Grand Prix. If you think about the normal tyre situation, and I don't know how they've done that, but I think it must have been because of Nifo locking the rear tyres, and now Samaxon finds themselves in a racing bull sandwich. LSI's going to be pretty pacey, but are they going to really try and push the tyres at this stage? Because those tyres are going to die very, very quickly. You can see they are really trying to give it everything. Nifo's not going to let that go easy in the straight line, as they know what the consequences are if they do so, and they're going to have to go wide to avoid contact, and now they're just going to have to let LSI go. Oh, LSI has got the grip, they've got the advantage, and they're going to get it on Samaxon as well. Absolutely incredible stuff. And now they're looking to try and get ahead of the Scotsman, pushing with everything they possibly can, but they've just run out of the last second. No, Zingy's also going to let that one go, and it looks like it's easy mode for LSI. Verf in P1 is going to be next up. It's going to be Nifo, who pushes their way through to get ahead of Samaxon. I say pushing, it was a metaphor. There was no physical touching, but it was an interesting place to overtake, that's for sure. I did not expect that at all. Wow. What a switch up just there, and welcome back Igapro and Jericho Willis. Heischler with that front wing change did lose about 3 seconds, so unfortunately they aren't in this battle anymore. And although they can still get something out of this race, it's going to be very difficult. Now, That is Zingy pushing like a madman to try and get everything they can. They stay within DRS range of the soft tyre. That is the fastest lap for LSI, as you would expect so. But how long will this tyre last for, and what's the situation going to be? Now, Nifayan and Zingy will be communicating in a chat as teammates, and they're going to have to try and execute an overtake on LSI in a very orderly manner, because that soft tyre is going to be very slow very, very soon, and you need to try and get through. And if you want to try and get through, why don't you help your teammate get through and prevent the champion of last season and the summer season from doing so? Well, Zingy right on the edge of DRS range from the Aston Martin, so not finding it easy at all, but giving it their all. Verf is going to be a little bit frustrated with this one, because this has worked perfectly for Zingy. They've just got DRS range, and Verf, who did have that undercut, has now lost it all because of this wacky strategy call that we see from LSI as they go for the move on the inside line, and they push it to the limit once more. And Verf can't do anything about that one. 3 lap old tyres though, they're going to drop off pretty soon, pretty quickly. And now 9 lap old hard tyres versus 4 lap old hard tyres. Verf's jump has been good, and they have made a lot of ground, so at least there's that, but they do now have a big gap difference in tyre life, and they've still got a long way to go in this Grand Prix. It's going to be a tough one for the Hungarian, but it's still going to be possible. LSI still gaining quite nicely at this stage, doing everything they can. But DRS will still be available for Verf at this point, and there is nothing you can do. Those hard tyres should be there. And that's DRS for Zingy. Actually, no DRS for Verf, so it will be a bit of a different call for the next few laps for Zingy. That being said, by the end of the straight, LSI ends up in the grasp of Verf once more, so lots of battery for the Hungarian, preventing Zingy from going for a move and catching back up to this soft tyre that is going to cause some havoc very, very soon as proceeds to wear. And there's a bit of grass on the tyre right there for the Sauber. And Zingy continues in their way at the moment, just trying to feel the circuit more and more as the tyres evolve in this race. DRS and ERS available. Verf has it this time, and it's going to be a bit easier for them to prevent Zingy from going for a move, although that is a very fast racing ball with a decent set of tyres underneath them, that is for sure. Edvir getting a 3-second time penalty after this one, unfortunately. They've had a long old race at the back from the beginning issues that they had, but they're still completing the distance and they're still getting the experience, and you've got to respect that massively. Completing the race is a part of the journey, so you might as well do something about it. We see once again a top 7 train. Unfortunately, Heischler hasn't been able to catch back up after all of what they went through earlier on, which unfortunately I missed, but it was on the live stream, so we'll have to just go and watch that back later on, of course. 8/10 Verf has to LSI at the moment. It's going to allow them to catch back up on DRS freely and not be bundled up by a soft tyre runner, but they do catch up by the end of the straight, as you can see. and 12 lap old tyres versus 7 lap old tyres on the Scotsman car. It is still a severe advantage that Zingy does have. He's also got to try and make sure that he chooses battles wisely, because he's got Nifo, Samaxon, Igor and Jericho all directly behind them on very similar tyres, looking to do exactly the same thing. It's anyone's race victory here in Zandvoort for round 1 of the championship out of 12 races that we've got. And once again, lap 21 out of 36. I'm going to apologise for the teething issues that we've got with streaming today, but we'll make sure we get it fixed for the next few races. If not tomorrow, then the next weekend. Once again, thank you for your patience. It's LSI leading the way, 6/10. Is Verf going to make the call to go for the move this time? I think it might be their best opportunity, and it's going to be their first opportunity, and the opportunity that they take. It's going to be side by side between the two racing bulls, which was a little bit interesting. I wasn't entirely sure what to say there, because I did not expect them to go so close to one another, but Nifo didn't have much of a choice as they had Samaxon right behind them. They had to try and show some sort of action to prevent Samaxon from pushing for a move on them. It's a little bit like attacking to defend. That is, Verf in the lead of the Grand Prix with a soft tyre runner that's only going to get slower in this race. Now, 13 lap old hard tyres, don't get me wrong, they're not exactly fast, but they should be faster than this soft tyre. That being said, I think LSI wants to have another go at getting back into P1. Verf, if they didn't have this 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, they would have a very good chance at winning this Grand Prix. But I will once again point out, we've got a long way to go in this Grand Prix, and Verf has that time penalty. It's anyone's race at this point. If everything went terribly wrong, it could change massively. That's Verf going into the pit lane. I don't know why they're going into the pit lane. Why are they going into the pit lane? I don't know what's just happened there. I don't know why they've done that. But they're going into the pit lane to serve their time penalty, and they're going to go onto some fresh medium tyres. Now, in the past, we have seen fresh tyres be very, very effective in Grand Prix, but not when you've got 10 seconds gap as well. I don't know how this one's going to go. We're going to see LSI make a pit stop at some point. As you can see, those tyres are pretty old, pretty hard to deal with at this stage. But that's just how it runs for a minute. DRS will be available for the Scotsman, and for the first time they're in P2 in the train. Would they look to try and go for the move into the first corner? 5/10 is the gap. They are pushing, and they are going for it. Nifoyan's not going to be able to follow on. The teammate coordination is not going to be there. Nifo's gone for the move at the last second, and they get damage. Samaxon is going to make the move, and Nifoyan's race is going to unravel out of their control. I do not know what to say. The home hero is now going to be struggling. That being said, we can see sometimes damage still thrive in heat of battle, but that's going to be a tough one, and you can see the understeer that they've got. I don't know what was going on there, but just missing their braking point. They tried to go for the move. I think LSI either broke early to try and get a switchback on the Scotsman, or they just went for the move at the last second and it didn't work out. Nifoyan, unfortunately, has the damage. Samaxon gets promoted, and Zingy now leads the way by 6/10 ahead of a soft tyre runner. Zingy is going to be pushing on the battery here at this point, because this is their best opportunity to split away from Samaxon, but Samaxon's going to be pushing as well. You can see they're already so close, and that slipstream is going to be effective. Very, very effective. There's no battery left for the Aston Martin driver. Samaxon makes the move, and Zingy isn't going to be rewarded with their strategy of overtaking. It's going to be how it is. There's Verth getting a fastest lap as they continue to push their car, 20 seconds behind the rest of the field at the moment. They are going to be very, very fast, and we'll look at the gap to the fastest lap times. An 11.0, we've got a 12.1, a 12.0, so a second a lap faster at this point, but just a massive gap in the field. It's not really good enough, unfortunately, to see that kind of difference. You'd need to be 2.5 seconds a lap faster to even have a go at fighting. So far the rest of the field has been holding on, and Nifeyan has defied the odds a little bit here by still doing what they can with this strategy. There's Livesey into the pit lane, but also getting a 10-second time penalty. That is Eager Pro trying to hold on ahead of Jericho Willis. It's Jericho Willis now getting promoted. Nifo now, as there is the split, of course, because of the pit stops just been made. That means that now it's going to be incredibly difficult for DRS to be held. Now it's going to be the Scotsman and Zingy and Samaxon fighting each other, as Nifo is going to try and hold on. But I have a feeling that something might happen here, because there's something called radio comms, and Samaxon is not going to have it easy, and the train is going to continue. Zingy leads the way. Do apologise for the delay. And there's the move to the outside line, but they do back off and Zingy continues to defend. Once again, thank you everybody for being patient with the teething issues we're having today, but we'll make sure we fix them for the next event in Austria, round 2 of the championship. That's going to be an amazing race. It's Zingy leading the way, the 6-time champ versus the reigning champion Samaxon, who won the last championship in F1, the one before that in F1.5 EU, and the last 2 summer season titles as well. Successful in their own right, but who's going to come out on top? Right now, the top 5, every single driver is a champion in their own tiers. We've got 4 F1 champions and 2 F1.5 champions, but no moves to be made just yet, although it is brutal. And I can't imagine the psychology that's going on right now. Zingy trying to communicate with his teammate. Samaxon trying to make sure they stay vigilant from behind, but also spot an opportunity to make a move ahead, but also not make a move too soon, as we're getting to the closing stages of this race now. And if you do go for an overtake, you might end up being overtaken at the last second and just use all of your efforts for nothing. Oh, and that's Igor sending it to the inside line. Absolutely ballsy move. He knows there's damage on that racing bull. He's looking for the outside line. He's looking for the battery, but he's not going to get the inside line. Surely he will continue to push, but it's not going to be enough. And that was a brilliant attack right there from Eager Pro, but Nifo just holding on so far for now. Brilliant defense from the Dutchman, but there, sending it into the corner, not getting a good exit. Will we see the Serbian have a go into the first corner? They might give it a shot. No battery available. It's going to be side by side. It's going to be defensive from Zingy once again, and it's going to be Nifeyan who doesn't get challenged this time by Eager Pro. Jericho Willis just watch that one happen up in front. Verth slowly catching to Heischler, as so is Livesey. Although a second set of soft tyres is going to be incredibly difficult to deal with. This hard tyre will be the way to go. And there is only one lap difference between the train at the moment. That being said, Heischler is catching up. That's going to be Igapro ahead of Nifo. DRS, will it be available for Igor? I think it will. They've just planned it out right, and luckily with a bit of cooperation from Nifayan, it stays that way as well. But as you can see, 1.4 seconds is the gap now, and that tells you never ever give up. Heischler is almost in the train of the race, and they are going to be able to have a chance to compete for the Grand Prix victory in their home race. No battery, no DRS, 8/10. That's all it is. The fighting, the strategy, the mind games that's going on. Zingy trying to help out his teammates stay in the train. That's allowed Heischler to get into this position. And you can see Samaxon isn't going to be exactly happy with it. But they're sitting behind and waiting for the final moments to make sure that they deploy their efforts in the correct way. Jericho Willis and Heischler, the second of the two teammate pairings that we see in this top battle. But the question is, who is going to be able to make it work, and who's going to communicate best? Jericho Willis has been sat in P5 for a very long time, and you could argue that they deserve to stay ahead, but Heischler's catching, they've got pace, they're not going to want to stay behind. They might have just got DRS as well. It's going to be Samaxon looking to the outside line, but passively and not attacking once more. We let everything stay as it is and continue with no problems, but it is Heischler right there, seeing everything up in front of them, seeing everything available. They've got a few more laps of tyre life on their car, but they also have an opportunity in this Grand Prix, and that's what you've got to be thankful for. One thing I will say though, it is Zandvoort. Catching is one thing, overtaking a completely another thing. It's going to be tough. It's always worth the shot in Formula 1, in league racing, in esports. Heischler's got that. They've just got to keep it in a straight line and wait for the drama in these final few laps. And it's only a matter of time, and we see everything completely turn into chaos. It's Zingy once again defending slightly to the inside line to prevent Samaxon going for any kind of move, and we see the same thing again and again, but it will not be the case forever. And we all know that. We've all known that since we saw this train form. And Igapro sits in P3, and they'll know that Zingy is willing to slow down to try and prevent Samaxon from going for a move. Would they try and go for a double overtake? Nifo, with the damage, what can they get from this race? And will Jericho Willis finally have the opportunity to go for a move, as we saw Igapro do earlier on? It's not easy to get past Nifo, even with damage. It's not impossible if you put your mind to it. But we have to go back. We have to watch with the Scotsman, because it's Samaxon on the attack for lap 33 out of 36. How's it going to run here in Zandvoort? DRS, Samaxon is going to attack surely on this lap. No, it's going to be exactly the same situation, and they don't go for the move. They're not looking to pull the plug just yet. But lap 34, whether Samaxon wants to do it or not, I think Igor's going to pull the plug for them, and they will not have a choice in this race. Lap 34 is the lap where the cars not in P1 or P2 push, but P3, 4 and 5. Zingy's been holding the composure for a while now. They want to try and win this race for themselves, but they know the DRS is going to be brutal, the train is going to be brutal, the cars behind them are going to be hungry. They lead the way, starting at 34, but is there going to be a push for a move? Eager Pro using the battery, trying to stay with the pack. Samaxon turning it off, and we get a repeat once more. And lap 35 is going to be the call. No moves. No moves. And Heichler gets another opportunity to catch up for one final moment. But if Jericho Willis doesn't do something, then Heichler's going to have to maybe, in the first race of the season, send it on their teammate. Put a bit of bad blood in the water. And that's not what you want when you're trying to fight with your teammate as a team. It's Nifo very close to the back of Igapro at this point, and you can see what Zingy's trying to do. He's trying to get his teammate one final opportunity before he tries to win the race himself, but I think it's a little bit too late for that kind of consideration. It's Zingy who will lead the way on lap 35 out of 36. It's Zingy who has all the pressure in the world, and ideally they want Samaxon to overtake them this lap, because otherwise it's not going to be quite so straightforward. Holding on to DRS for one more lap would be ideal for Samaxon as long as they don't get pressured by Igapro, and I think they'll just do it, as they do not need to worry. It's going to be pretty straightforward. The anticipation has got too much though, as it's going to be Jericho Willis who finds an opportunity, but they don't manage to capitalise on it. They've not got the run, and they don't want to use the battery, which was an interesting call. It wasn't Jericho Willis, it was Heichler who has gone for the move on their teammate. They've switched. And I didn't see when that went, but it must have been agreed. There was no way that they went for the send, because it was very, very, very secretive in the background. That was an interesting switch right there. And now it's going to be Heichler who looks to try and have a go at Nifoyan in the final lap of the Grand Prix. But the final lap of the Grand Prix is when we look at the victors. And currently it's Zingy, Samaxon and Igapro in the top three. Who's going to end up on the top step of the podium here in Zandvoort, round one, to lead the championship for the first time in season 15. Zingy starts the final lap of the Grand Prix in P1, DRS available, and Samaxon has to go for the move now. Igor is going to be pushing to the limit as well, but here we go. Samaxon, the inside line is chosen this time. It's Zingy who tries to swoop around the outside, but no, just finding it. Every opportunity is Samaxon. Here we go. Zingy has pulled it off. I do not believe it. On the traction though, opening the steering, it's going to be Samaxon. There's some tapping, some wheel locking. I think Zingy might have it. He leaves the space. They stay side by side. They go through turn 7 and down the hill. The Scotsman has the advantage. Oh, that's never going to work. That is never going to work. And Samaxon tried to send it to the inside line, but once again in Zandvoort, they are down the order in the final moments. Igapro now has a clear shot at making a move. DRS, ERS. It's not going to be possible on the battery, but they might try and give it a go up to the line. What's going to happen? Zingy has got a final corner to make, and they might just win the Grand Prix here in Zandvoort. Zingy up to the line, trying to hold on. Igapro, will they have it? It's not going to be possible, or is it? I don't know. Zingy wins! Wins in Zandvoort. They win the Dutch Grand Prix. Igapro in P2 and Nifoyan holds on to the podium after all of that. Heichler recovers to an amazing P4. It's Jericho Willis in P5 and Samaxon is going to be furious in P6 there, with Livesey in 7th, Verf and Edvir holding on to finish this race, and I respect that massively. But wow. What a race we've just had. What a race. I don't know what to say. Igapro almost had a look, but a P2 is a brilliant result to start the season, and once again a successful start to a season for the Serbian driver. Nifo, P3. With damage, I think they've got to be very happy with that one for sure. And we get effectively a repeat of what happened last season in Austria with Samaxon, Igapro, and not a repeat, but the same three contenders, Samaxon, Igapro, and Zingy, fighting for the victory in the final laps. This time, it's Zingy who takes the top spot, and there he is in P1. That's the accolades you can see on your screen now. This is the result. Zingy is the winner of the Dutch Grand Prix. We've got Igapro in P2, then Nifayan in P3. Heischler recovers to P4. We've got Jericho, Willis, Samaxon, Livesey, Verth with the fastest lap, Ed Veer, and then DNFing earlier on was Tom Robb and Hog Rider. This is the race director just in case, because we might need it, that's for sure, and we're just going to make sure that we record it kind of twice, and then also the pit stop section as well. That's been that. We'll be back for a very short and brief post-race interview. We'll see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews of the Dutch Grand Prix Round 1. That was absolutely insane all the way to the end. Tom, we start with you. Not really the way you wanted to start the season. Can you take us through it?
Yeah, first of all, Zandvoort is not my most liked track or my best track, as I was expecting a bit of a worse result. Yeah, qualifying lap time was nearly as fast as I could do, just too much of a gap. And then race start, I just see the Williams and the Mercedes collide into, what is it, turn 3, I think. and I have to just take avoiding action. So I'm out of DRS range again, like every race. The last few times I raced. Tried to push it on the first lap to get in it. Then just made the mistake with the deadly curb. Lost a bit time there again. Then I was just basically out of the race. Yeah, made 1-2 mistakes afterwards. First of all, first I just wanted to stay in the race because maybe safety car would happen or anything else to get me back in. Then I had my mistake at the pit entry where I also took slight wing damage. So my second stint, I drove with slight wing damage, which did not help at all. Made another mistake. And after that, I was just too annoyed from myself and too exhausted from the day to just keep driving for another 20 laps. Yeah, which so I just pulled the trigger and ended the race. Yeah, I mean, if I would have stayed in the DS train at the beginning, I think I probably would have also lost out on it eventually. Because my tire wear on the front left was just too high all the time, and training and now on the race again, it was just impossible for me to go for the one stop.
Do you think you know what you need to do to try and fix that for future?
Not really yet. I have to look I have to look into it. Maybe tell us a bit on the settings of the setup. But it was just really weird because my front left was like twice as much as the rear left, and that was already twice as much as my complete right side. Probably combination of the characteristics of Sandboard and the slight mistake in the setup. But it just was really annoying because I knew that the two-step is should be slightly slower. Yeah, so I knew it would be really hard if someone, or now all of them, or nearly all of them, went for the one stop.
Fair enough. Thank you very much, Tom. Really well said, and hopefully it goes better for you next time. Thank you for the effort today. And we go on to Dr. Livesey. That was a pretty insane soft tyre strategy, I have to say.
It was not, so it was a big mistake from me because the system doesn't let me to put mediums to hards, and I put mediums softs, and the racing was so intense that I forgot to change. So basically, I would say I preferred, of course, this hard tactic, but I thought it's gonna be a safety car or something because I watched the replays from the past, and it was always like at least one safety car. I did two mistakes. The second soft, when I put it, I was too fast in the pit lane. Of course, it's a basic one, and the other one, I opened the stream in Discord. I forgot to mute, and I wanted to alt tab, and I quit my game. So the last qualifying lap was basically over for me. So it was my first ever race in online. So I loved it. It was crazy good. I thought my pace gonna be a little bit slower, but if somebody is ahead of you, you can make the tempo. I did a really big downforce setup, so my straight line was basically nothing, but in the corners I can do something interesting. But
yeah, for sure. I mean,
really
for your first ever online race, you did an absolutely incredible job, and I can't wait to see how Austria goes. I think you already know that you've got a few things to work on for the next race, like the pit lane entry and the strategy. But once you got that underway, then you'll be good. So really well done today. Thank you very much.
And I want to thank you, everybody. No big contacts and everything. It was really fun. So thank you.
Awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. And we move on to Heischler. What a race. It was all on stream with the incident that you had in the kind of middle part of the race. Unfortunately, I was looking away at that point. So I don't know what happened, but you managed to recover all the way up, pretty high up. Can you take us through it?
Poor. Yeah. First of the quali, was quite happy with my lap. I did a 0.4 in the practice quali. I just did like half an hour before the start of the session. So, and that was my PB. So I was like, I hope I can repeat this in the actual quali, and I managed to do so. A little bit slower than my PB, but I think my PB would have just been pole, but that doesn't matter. P2 was amazing, to be honest. I didn't expect to be this close to Simaxon in quali, so I was happy with that. My plan for the race was actually a hard medium strategy, but if I was starting on the front row, especially if I start P1, I was doubting to do a medium hard instead. And I saw Simaxon do first going on the hards, so I was like, then I don't want to do the hards strategy, but he changed last second, so I was stuck with him on the medium hard strategy. But in all that thinking, I forgot to change some settings in my setup, like the front wing was still on quali spec, the off diff was still on quali spec. I didn't have max fuel or max rear tire pressures, so as soon as I realized it was at the lights, I thought, okay, this is gonna be a tough race to keep it all on track and keep it going. And to be honest, it didn't feel that bad. It felt actually better than I thought, but as you could see during lap, what was it, 9 I believe, I lost it in the middle sector out of nowhere. I had no indication of it, and I assume it's due to the off diff and lower rear tire pressures combination. So that was not ideal. I managed to change the front wing in the pit stop, luckily. Also, yeah, get a new front wing. And then I was on my own for a long time, and I didn't really think I would catch back up to the train. But at some point they started to fight, and I changed something in my ERS usage to maximize a bit more lap time, and that worked very well, to be honest. I didn't expect to catch up still, so I'm happy that I actually catched up. It's sad that only Simaxon fell away. I hoped there was a slight chance of podium. Maybe with penalties after the race, maybe it's still possible. But overall, I'm happy with the recovery, and we'll just go again for next race.
Yeah, for sure. I think you can be really happy with that one. I think after what happened earlier on in the race, you got some home advantage maybe, and managed to find your way further up. I don't know, I'm just talking randomly. Good luck in Austria. I hope the off diff doesn't hit you quite so bad. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we move on to Hush teammate Jericho Willis. Jericho, that was a long old race in the train, pretty intense. And yeah, I don't know what to say, it's tough, but still good points, and McLaren are pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, my starting position was disappointing, but I didn't really have high expectations for qualifying or the race today. Just I was away all week and couldn't drive, so I didn't think that I was going to be able to maximize. Just didn't feel comfortable in the car. So honestly, you know, finishing fifth, fourth and fifth for the team. Maybe a little better, like we said, after they take a look at the end there. But still, fourth and fifth for the team, considering Heish's incident and just my lack of being able to prep for this. I think we can be pretty happy with that.
Then I'm going to apologise for not sorting out the calendar sooner. So, yeah, I'm sorry that you weren't able to practice a little bit more for that, but you did a very good job considering that, and I can't wait for the rest of the season. It should be good. So thank you, Jericho. Really good job today. Well done on the great points, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And we move on to Nifo. Nifo, a podium. I think you'll take it with one of the end plates on your wing not quite being on the car. Can you take us through your race and what happened in that moment?
Yeah, it was quite a roller coaster, really. I thought in quali I was gonna be way farther down, and then after my second row I was like, oh, okay, front row maybe, maybe second row, and then yeah, third lap I was like, you know, I'm gonna have a go at Simaxon's time, 0.4. I was like, I'm gonna push. I over pushed it, went wide, then P4. Good start. It was good racing with the Aston, and then yeah, from there on out it was a bit still. Like just behind Maxon, overtook him for the pit stops, and then I had karma with our pre-race chat because I locked my race, and it instead of just correcting me, it reset me, and so it stopped me. So I had to accelerate again, lost the position to Maxon and to Zingy in the process. I think Zingy would have probably been side by side anyway, but I might have been ahead. Yeah, from that point on, it was just controlling the race, and I broke quite early behind the Aston. I broke 100 meters. I think you can break easily 50 if you want to, and I broke 100, and I just immediately locked. And yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do then, so I just tried to minimize what I was going to do to him. It was quite unfortunate that Zingy overtook him at the exact same time, because that meant there wasn't really a place for me to go, because he was on the outside, and then he didn't move all the way to the inside. He was kind of in the middle. It's not his fault, by the way. It's just completely on me, but it was unfortunate. And then yeah, yellow wing, pretty yellow wing, just about not orange. And yeah, I mean, all the right-hand turns were just, I mean, T1, the long right-hander, Skyflock, the hairpin, and Arena were just hell. I just didn't have any turn-in, but you know, you can't really overtake if you defend smart. So I was confident I was going to keep Eagle behind, and then I got a lag back, and I lost that position. So I'll take a P3, honestly. I made 2 big mistakes. I'm still inconsistent in my inconsistency spree. I want to get out of it. I still haven't. It's a strong track, so I was hoping for it. Didn't, but I think I got the position that I deserved, because I don't feel like how Igor got my position was fair, even though he might have still gotten it with my damage. But yeah, overall, I'm mixed emotions. I'm happy. I'm a bit disappointed in the mistakes, but overall, it's a decent result, so I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure. Damage, if it wasn't there, do you think you could have fought for the win?
Yeah, I think so.
Fair enough. And yeah, thank you very much, Defo. I'm sure it can't go as bad as it did last season at Austria, so I'm sure you'll be right.
So.
Thank you very much, and really good effort today.
Thank you.
And we move on to Sir Maxon. Sir Maxon, a long battle all the way to the end. Unfortunately, in the final moments, it didn't go quite to plan. Can you take us through it?
Yeah, so, okay. Okay, it's good. So, starting from quali, just this race could be summed up with, like, had quali pace, didn't show it, didn't have race pace, also didn't show it. So, just really hadn't done any race laps before the race on this setup, or like, just any setup. So, that was a new thing for me, and it just wasn't good. Like, didn't really have the pace first. It was just mostly saving tires, managing to stay in front. And then second stint was mostly just being stuck in the train, then managed to overtake Nifo and Dr. Lively's, and then just, yeah, last lap with Zingy is always last lap with Zingy, and it's Zandvoort. It always happens here. Don't really know why, but I think we just have a magnet between us on this track, so, well.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Unfortunately, we didn't get a great angle of the incident, but yeah, it's a little bit of a repeat from last season. I'm sorry to see it happen, but really good effort today. Thank you for the battling that you have given us, and Austria, I'm sure you'll come back stronger, so thank you very much, Sir Maxon. I can't wait to see the rest of the season.
Yeah, thank you.
And we move on to Zingy. Zingy, that's a victory in round 1. Can you take us through it? Because there's way too much for me to remember.
Yeah, well, qualifying, I was slow as anything. Like, I didn't think I was even going to get a top 5 that race because everyone was so quick. But I used my heads, worked my way through the fields, capitalised on other people's mistakes, and then got that undercut. Nifl told me if the Maxon pits, he'll pit, which they didn't. So then I took advantage of that, got ahead, stayed ahead, and then on the last lap there seems to be a bit of a very desperate move from my perspective and what I've seen on the replay. There was no way that he was getting that done. So he can say what he wants, but I'm going to look at the replay, analyze it, and try and be as non-biased as possible. But at the same time, like, you got to realize that there's someone there, and I feel as though he's not taking that into account, and he's thought, I'll just get to the apex first, like I'm Max Verstappen, but he's not. So we'll wait and see for reports. People may have different opinions, but from what I see and what I've experienced before, you can't do that. So we'll let the reports talk from there. But I'm very happy for this one. First against instructors. Neville done a great job as well, helping me communicate with him and all sorts. So happy for him, happy for the team, and we'll go forward from there.
Yeah, couldn't be a better way to start the season, especially compared to last season after Austria. In the final lap, it went pretty crazy, but this time you come out on top. I don't know, maybe some sort of crash and you ended up like at the back. But we don't need to look at it. Anyway, congratulations today, really good effort, and yeah, I can't wait for the rest of the season. Thank you very much, really good race, and it was a pleasure to watch.
Yep.
And that's been it for the post-race interviews. We'll see you tomorrow for the F1.5 EU Championship for the Dutch Grand Prix. We'll see you next weekend for the Austrian Grand Prix. Once again, we do apologise for the teething issues that we've got with the live stream, but we'll try and make sure that's fixed as soon as possible. Have a good one. Bye-bye.